Good evening and welcome to Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana. It's the PBA50 South Shore Open presented by Deviate. Deviate, damn good bowling. Good evening, Van McNeil alongside PBA50 Tour member Tom Carter. Nice to see you again, Mr. Carter.
Glad to be back. This is fun. I enjoy it.
I
thought you were going to sing that opening. Indiana wants me or something. I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but okay.
A field of 97 bowlers out here in Hammond, Indiana for the South Shore Classic. We whittle it down to our top five, and what a field of five we have here, Tom.
It is an incredible field of five. We got a first-timer, Gary Faulkner. He shot 300 in the tournament. We got Amleto, who threw a fantastic game in the position round to get to the show.
Right.
We got Bob Learn, who's been bowling unbelievable all week, and of course Ron Mohr, who I think makes every show that we have.
Right.
And then we top it off with a guy that's averaging 260 the first day with Norm Duke. So, I think the show's going to be rather exciting, and there's going to be some great scores.
Bob Learn made a late charge there in modified match play round 2 to get ahead of Norm Duke, who has been bowling buckets out here all week.
He's making it look like he's the only guy bowling.
Right.
It's unbelievable. But the other guys have been bowling fantastic. I mean, the field, it was kind of funny. Some of the field struggled, and you got these guys on top that made it look like it was just pure simple.
Bowling out here on the PBA50 Viper Oil pattern. Gary Faulkner in the 5th spot, taking on Amleto Monacelli here in this first match. Gary's second time around in match play, his first time out here in a stepladder final.
Yeah, his game is really good. I mean, his technique to the line, his follow-through, the guy throws it phenomenal. He's a new face, and he's somebody that the guys need to be kind of worried about because he can strike a lot.
Well, Gary has a tough task at hand with Amleto Monacelli winning earlier in Brentwood, California in the Northern California Classic.
Well, when you go up against a Hall of Famer, it's never going to be easy. Then if he gets through that match, there's another Hall of Famer.
Right.
It doesn't stop. So I think today's going to be fun to watch.
All right, we'll get going here as we hear our final instructions from Tournament Director John Weber. A great showing of support here at Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana.
Oh, we have a Wonder Woman sighting.
Wonder Woman is in the house.
We've got a great lineup for you. The opening match will be Gary Faulkner. He's a Vincennes University graduate. He's also a partner of Mike Kavaki. They won a national junior championship together many years ago. And Gary is a two-time PBA regional champion as well. He will be going against a formidable player from Miami, Florida. He's a member of both the PBA and USBC Halls of Fame. He's won 20 times on the PBA Tour, 8 championships out here on the PBA50 Tour. He's going for his second win this year. Give it up for Amleto Monacelli.
It's been a great week out here at Olympia Lanes. Thanks to the entire crew taking care of us.
To start up the match. One more round of applause to start the opening match, guys. Good luck.
And those final instructions from Tournament Director John Weber. Got to be an interesting situation. His first time under these Xtra Frame lights for Gary Faulkner.
There's going to be nerves. There has to be.
Yeah.
You're bowling Amleto Monacelli.
PBA Hall of Famer.
The guy's a legend. If you're not scared, you're not human. And, you talk to any of these guys, they're all nervous before a match starts. So it makes no difference if they're Hall of Famers or not. If there's no nerves, you're dead.
Talking to Amleto before the match, saying that he needs to stay calm and not get ahead of himself. And you throw an errant shot like that in your first throw.
Well, the back ends of these lanes are just going sideways. And, he moved in already and crossing 15, 16 out to like 8. It looks like he wants to hook it. But for most of the week, the guys started out on the fresh, and this is a fresh pattern. They were actually piping it pretty good somewhere between 4 and 8 and trying to keep it straight on line. It looks like Amleto's trying to open up the lane. Gary's probably going to be a little bit tighter, but he can open up the lane also.
Gary Faulkner had a 300 in qualifying. We had Pete Weber, Brian LeClaire.
I bowled with Brian LeClaire. I've seen that and bowled right next to him and seen that.
Faulkner in his opening throw and able to trip out the stone 9.
Amleto leaves the 9. He gets a little bit of a break. But you can see they're both playing about the same spot. But you can see how hard the ball comes off the back. And that was the big key of striking here consistently, is to get that ball to stop a little bit and not keep driving so hard. Because it was so easy to leave solid 9s, 4 9s, actually pocket 7 9s for some of these guys. They've got so many revs and so much speed that the balls just are so strong. And with the back ends as crisp as they are, it keeps going left.
You would think it would be the opposite out here on the 50 tour, but you need to keep that ball speed up, especially with the way equipment is playing out in 2017.
Some of this equipment is just so strong. He's throwing a brand new Radical ball, a tremendous, and it hooks a ton. You know, and like I said, they're on fresh oil. There's a lot of oil out there. There's 25 mils of oil, and that's a boatload on 38 feet of lane.
Right.
But like I said, after strip and re-oil, the back ends just get crisper. I was talking to Ron Mohr early, and he thought the out of bounds was around the 2 board, but since they've stripped and oiled so much, it's kind of moved in around 4. So if you get it out there too far, it might wiggle down lane.
Light mixer strike for Amleto Monacelli as we take a look at the replay again.
Now, he was, like 5 down lane, but he's got so much hand, his ball always changes direction. You're never going to see Amleto throw it like Walter Ray and, be straight.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Amleto straight is probably trying to play up 8-10.
Unless it is a last-minute resort and you've run out of options, we wouldn't see Amleto go there.
Well, yeah, all these guys have got tricks. I mean, they got lots of tricks in their sleeve. And, to the naked eye, you might not see them do a lot of things different to them from behind. It looks the same. But a little wrist trick, open the hand a little bit, break the wrist down, speed adjustment. These guys, they just do it instinctively. They bowled so much.
It's the little things that make a difference between the professionals and the league and house bowlers. Solid pocket strike for Amleto.
Amleto throwing a Mako. He went to that later on in the day. He started out throwing a sideboard pearl, but he went to a solid because it doesn't react quite as hard on the back end as the pearl balls do. The pearls come off the pattern, and they want to go sideways. And again, you got Gary Faulkner there throwing a black tremendous, which is a solid ball. They're more rolling and continuous. The biggest thing is to get them not to over-continue on the back end.
Yeah, you don't want to add too much length.
Gary's kind of unique. He's got a pro shop. He actually paints shoes.
Paints them?
Yeah, he paints them. If you go to his website, you'll see some of the shoe designs that he's done, and they're absolutely incredible. They're amazing, actually. My wife wants a pair of shoes. He did a pair that had Wonder Woman on them. That's what she wants.
I'd have to inquire. We'll talk to Gary about that after the show here. Faulkner. Front 3. Working on 4 in a row.
He's got such a good, fluid, long follow-through.
Oh, boy.
That is something that happened a lot this week. You try to want to be firm so that the ball doesn't over-continue on the back end, and he got it out a little farther, that wiggle spot.
Right.
And 7-10. And I've seen a few of those, like 3 of them in 3/10 frames.
Looked like a great ball directly into the pocket, but
it's always nice when you're walking a shot out thinking it's going to strike, and you turn around and it's a 7-10. Oh, you don't want to give away pins.
Nope.
Not like that.
Faulkner, a first time out here in a stepladder final, so the nerves would come into play as he gets some extra coaching from Michael Haugen.
That's his roommate. So, and it's not like Michael hasn't bowled good on this tour since he's come out. He's been in the top 5, made I don't know God how many shows, and so he's getting some great coaching in the back on lines and balls to use. Ooh. That was almost a 7-10.
Right.
like I said, they're bowling on a fresh pattern, so there should be a little bit of carry down. Even though they had 15 minutes of practice, there's still going to be a little bit more push going down lane, and that ball is going to want to wiggle. So they got two choices: either to square it up, or move left and slow it up. And I don't know how well they like to do that.
15 minutes of practice is enough to carve up a lane to cause some trouble?
Oh, with the balls today?
Yeah.
By far. Especially if they're using a little bit of Avalon pads on them to try. They can really burn up a lane quickly.
The man that owns 20 career PBA Tour titles. Amleto Monacelli in the 5th. And a little high. Leaves a stone 7.
Yeah, and he left a 9-pin before, so that's what I was talking about. The ball coming in so hard. I mean, you can leave stone 7 9s. You can leave 9 pins. The ball just keeps. You can see it. On the show here, it just keeps going left.
So the adjustment for Amleto, would it be something as simple as less hand?
Knowing Amleto, it might be a board left for him to try to catch just a little bit more conditioner down lane, so the ball can't jump quite as hard. But the problem is if he moves left and he still gets it out too far to the right, there's so much friction there, it's still going to ricochet off of that. And I was in the opening, and I said some of the guys made it look so easy. The guys that could get the ball to stop in the right spot struck a lot. Otherwise, balls just kept going. For some guys, it looked like the big X down there. It either hooked too much or didn't hook enough.
Faulkner, a breakthrough tournament here at the South Shore Open.
If you notice, he tightened that up a lot.
Yep.
And that's really the key. And I talked to him in practice, and he threw one way out the door. And I go, "You're really not going to try to hook it that much, are you?" And he goes, "No, I'm going to try to keep it a little bit tighter." So he only got down to 8. And he crossed like 13 to 8. So he tried to keep it in a tube. And I think that's the way you're going to play it. And I believe that's the way Norm will try to play it.
Yeah, that line won't last too long if you got too many guys bowling that particular style.
He really digs that middle finger in there. It doesn't look like you. So his middle finger as he gets it in the ball is definitely his power finger.
That's where he generates all of that, those revs.
Every bowler's a little different. Some of us, there's more pressure on the ring.
Oh my goodness. Enough pin action to trip the 9.
He doesn't even look excited about that. So, I mean, he must have a calm demeanor about him. But see how far he got that one out? And it came so hard back, it almost 4-9'd again. You got to be, there's that long follow through. It'd be nice to have that. I can't get my arm over my head.
No.
Everybody goes, "Carter, you need to follow through." I am. That's all I got.
Amleto Monacelli finishing 4th out here, wrap 10.
Even though the scores were high, and some of the guys, they ran into the pairs where the games were just huge, and the other pairs were like 200, 2-0.
Right.
You got some of these pairs. Unfortunately, on some of the pairs, and I asked Mike Cozy about it, the heads kind of bounced a little bit, and for some
you get that double bounce.
You got that double bounce, and the ball just overskate on you, and that's with carry being what it was, having the ball bounce on you and not sure where it was going to go. That was always another factor. And one in the house plays a little tighter than the other, so you had all the factors going in.
Amleto looking to stay calm like he did in qualifying and match play. Said he doesn't want to get ahead of himself.
He never looks like he's nervous at all when he's up there, but he says he is.
Yeah. And another wrap 10.
It's hard to believe his first year he came out, he almost went home and never came back.
Really?
Yep.
That frustrated out here that he didn't want to come back.
Yeah, a lot of times he has a jersey on that has 0 on the back, and that it's some artist that he listens to, and a song came on by him, and there was something about the song that made him to give it one more try. And that one more try turned into the Amleto that we know.
Wow.
He was ready to go home.
Wow. That is an amazing fact, Tom, that
Because a lot of people think these guys all started out great, and they didn't.
Right. Well,
They struggled and had to learn, and it's a learning curve out here. But once you figure it out, like these guys have, it not so hard.
Faulkner, his best finish, 8th in the Race City Open. He has 2 PBA regional titles. Looking for his first and able to trip out the 9 again. Staring it down.
He's getting some good carry there. I mean, it's 3 times he tripped out that 9, which could end up being all bad. But he played this lane a little tighter. And the ball's got to square up to the pocket a little bit more than that. We always say that now we wanted to split the 8-9, and his ball's literally driving so hard it's taking out the 8 and almost missing the 9.
Right. Too many revs cutting through the pins.
And
Not enough deflection.
He's a young 50. He doesn't even come close to looking 50. And obviously he's got more revs and speed than most of us.
Faulkner had a 300 game out here during qualifying.
Throwing a quick fix.
And a little different of an approach here, it looked like. A little bit more direct, Tom.
Yeah, he didn't get that one as far out as he did the one before. As long as he keeps it around 8-7 down by the marker and not out to 4-5, he's going to be okay. But it takes speed to do that. And some of the guys didn't have the speed to hold that line, me being one of them. My rev rate's higher than my speed, so my ball would get to that spot and still want to go left because I couldn't throw it hard enough. There's something to be said for speed.
And we saw a little extra skid there in
It
Amleto's
looks like
ball.
Ameleto's kind of backed off of it a little bit because he knows it's cutting so hard, but that ball didn't finish at all.
So
Even though he's crossing 15, he went out to like 5-6, and you can see the ball just stopped before. So he's done something in his release because earlier his ball was going left.
So a little change in the hand.
Yeah, a little change in the hand position, so it doesn't rev up quite so much. But he needs to figure something out because Gary has.
2012 PBA50 Rookie of the Year. As we told you earlier, he won in Brentwood, California for his 8th career title on the PBA50 Tour, the Northern California Classic.
We were there.
We were there. That's right, we were on that show.
We were on that show. And I luckily made it home. Motorhome escapade.
Motorhome adventures?
To come up later.
Okay, all right. Fun story.
Amleto needs to strike this out. 236 is his possible, and Gary's almost got that beat right now if he just keeps balls in play.
A look at Amleto's shot once again here. And that one.
See how that split just stopped right between the 8-9?
Yep.
That's what that's the good carry right there. You don't have to worry about leaving solid 9s or doing anything or leaving anything goofy. He's got a nice rhythmatic setup. He just kind of bounces around for a little while, then all of a sudden takes off.
You don't want to overthink it too
nope.
much.
He definitely doesn't overstudy.
5 in a row now for Gary Faulkner. And
Gary pretty much has this match locked up. He can shoot 264 if he just strikes out. The Ameleto's 236.
The winner of this match will go on to meet PBA Hall of Famer Norm Duke, who has been bowling buckets out here in Hammond, averaging a 261 in round 1, a 250 in round 2.
That was just unbelievable to watch.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
That's what happens when you get just a hair slow.
It might have been more than a hair slow, Tom. That was straight through the head.
Got slow, got it farther right, it went farther left. And that's the thing that you can't do on this pattern. So now he gets 229. He opened the door.
A little bit, yeah.
He opened the door. All he had to do was mark. That sounds so That sounds like Nelson Burton Jr. All you have to do is mark.
He could save face here by converting this and gets the count. Wraps
229.
229.
Amleto can go out for 236. He needs a double.
I don't want to say experience was a factor there, but 10th frame.
Nerves could have got to him. He
Yeah.
could have known where he was at, and he goes, "Oh, you know," and he might have thought that. All I got to do is just stay out of trouble, make a mark.
Right.
And that's, you never want to think that way. You want to stay aggressive, clear to the last ball you throw.
You also don't want to think ahead. You want to take this one frame at a time. That's Amleto's game plan here. He doesn't want to get ahead of himself. And now a chance to take advantage.
He's got a chance to. Now, I'm one of the coaches up at TurboTech at Junior Gold, and listen to Mike Shady. He's got a thing that he tells his students, and it's win, which we want to do, but it stands for something. What's important now?
WIN, what's important now?
What's important now? And for Gary, what's important now is that 10th frame, you know, and I think he let his mind wander a little bit. You can't do that.
Definitely a learning experience for Gary.
Well, he made a finals
Mm-hmm.
match play. Now he's learned, and he made one more step. He's made a TV show, and now he's going to learn how to win. Next time he gets in this position, I don't think that's going to happen.
Right. It's all about experience out here on the tour. Amleto needs this strike as well.
That got in the lane a little quick.
Oh, trip out that 10?
It did not.
Oh, goodness.
If you watch that again, that was into the lane at the foul line, and that just went boom, and it just didn't read the lane at all.
Just sat there.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Gary Faulkner, winner of match number
So
one.
Gary Faulkner squeaks by with a 229, and we'll meet Norm Duke in our next match here at Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana. It is the 2017 PBA50 South Shore Open. Van McNeil alongside Tom Carter. This tournament presented by Deviate. Deviate, damn good bowling. Next match coming up. Van McNeil alongside Tom Carter, the 2017 PBA50 South Shore Open Stepladder Finals. Match 2, Norm Duke and Gary Faulkner. Right back on track.
I think he's going to be a little bit more relaxed this match because he got a little bit of a gift, I would say.
Got a break from Amleto.
That last match. And I don't think if it gets to that point in the 10th frame, he's not going to let it happen.
This man bowling out of his mind here. He is fired up.
He's throwing that.
Wow.
He's throwing that racket, and that is the ball that he went to.
He
average
switched.
He switched to an average 260
Yep.
with, and that he played 15 to like 7, 8 down lane, and bang, that ball struck a lot.
He said it. That's when he averaged 260 during qualifying.
You look at Duke's grip. Finger holes are sharp, thumb holes sharp, no bevel whatsoever on that ball. People are like, how's he throw it? He doesn't squeeze it. And that's a big thing in today's game. People want to grab the bowling ball, and that's not the thing to do. The softer your hand is, the cleaner the release. And if you can throw it with sharp holes, more power to you, because you are definitely not grabbing on it.
Gary Faulkner in his first stepladder final here on the PBA50 Tour.
Well, he's got by one Hall of Famer.
Yep. Can he get by another? Gotta stay even with Norm. And a wrap 10.
Now, that oil change and him throwing a solid, there could be a little bit push down lane. Ball didn't quite finish. You've seen it fall back to the right. Like I said, he's throwing a solid. He's picking up another solid for the spare. But Norm throwing a hybrid. A little bit of pearl, a little bit of solid, a little cleaner through the front. Might have a little more pop on the back end.
So that might not be the right ball for Gary.
Might not be the right ball for Gary, but he's going to have to figure out something because you don't want to give too many frames to Norm, especially when he has the look that he's had in this house for this week.
Right, averaging 261, averaging 250. His low game in round 1, a 225.
That might have been my high game. What are you laughing at? He's over here laughing at me. It's always to keep you guys entertained on Xtra Frame. Carter's on the show. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, another $160. That's pretty good.
Trips the 10 pin out. As we take another look.
The approaches were a little bit of a factor to some of the guys, especially in the morning. They seemed a little tacky. In the afternoons, they weren't a problem. But in the mornings, they were a little bit on the gritty side.
Yeah, we did have a storm roll through Hammond, Indiana here. Humidity went up after.
Did you walk outside today?
Yeah, it's muggy out there.
It's like you could cut it.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And that has, I don't want to say a little factor, but it has some factor out here in the bowling center.
That looks like yesterday, for the first day, all over again.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a pin down under the bridge. CG's kicked out a little bit. Pin down balls tend to roll up and be smoother on the back end. And it is obviously working for him.
Uh-oh.
He got that a little wide. Didn't like it.
I was going to say, it's
But
like I hope that comes back.
Again, pin down balls tend to be a little bit more rolly. They lower the pin downs when you drill them tend to lower the differential. The differential for most of us means how far the ball goes from, if you're right-handed, right to left on the back end. And RG is how far the ball goes or how soon it starts rolling down the lane.
So a 4-bagger for Norm Duke. Faulkner just trying to stay
That was
striking.
that was a much firmer shot, tighter line, and I think that's what he's going to have to keep doing, throwing a little bit more aggressive ball. He can't ease up on it whatsoever. I don't know. I'm jealous. I think that the best part of his game is that follow through. He's got long extension down the lane, and that's in today's game with as much as the ball's hooked, you got to get him to the break point, and that long extension definitely helps.
Right, but eventually, as the body gets older, you know, he's a young 50 player out here. He's still able to do that.
Right, and some of the older guys, they just can't do it.
Well, that's where you bring in different pieces of equipment. You add some length and able to trip out another stone 9.
That's about the 5th one now,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We'll put another quarter in the jar. And
replay that show again and watch that ball go dead left on the back end. Oh, my God, did that ball just keep on going? If there was another lane over there, he kept striking.
Norm is dialed in.
Yeah, you watch Norm's release. I mean, he's just out of it quick at the bottom of the release. It's just, there's never any grab with him.
Lets the ball do the work.
See how that ball stops right there?
Yep.
And that's how you strike a lot on this pattern. If it keeps going left, you leave junk. And you hope that something comes off the wall and takes it out.
Right. PBA and USBC Hall of Fame member. He won the Race City Open, his 4th career PBA 50 title earlier this year, and another solid pocket strike for Norm.
Well, we're going at 280-300 pace right now, so I told you there's going to be some scores on this.
Bowling on the PBA Viper, PBA 50 Viper oil pattern, and looks great. Makes it look effortless.
His hand's always the same way. You never really see him close and make a fist. His hand just goes through it. His fingers just hit the ball. They don't overhit the ball. I mean, a lot of young players like to see the ball hook, and it's not always about hook. If you can't repeat shots, you can hook the whole lane. It doesn't really make a difference. You got to be able to repeat. Right now we got 2 guys repeating pretty good.
the exception of the second frame and that single pin spare, this match should be even. Gary is dialed in for sure now.
Yeah, he doesn't, you know, I'm very impressed. He doesn't look nervous. He doesn't look like he's rattled.
He is focused.
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell he's focused.
He's taking, you know, deep breaths, relaxing, making great shots.
We see Bobler Jr. and Ron Mohr keeping an eye on Gary. Ooh, gets a break, a high hit to trip out.
This could be his tournament. As many things that he's just tripped out, and that was, I think, at least from the angle that I seen it, was a little bit high, which could have been a big 4, and he trips out the 4-7.
Gary gets the break that he needed. Now Norm Duke. 6 going for 7.
Oh, he didn't like it, but he got away with it. You know, the two styles are so different. You watch Norm, and he never really sets. His hand's always moving. He's just staying loose. And Pete does the same thing. It's just constant movement. And you see guys that get up there, and they just like lock up and freeze and never move. And the longer you do that and the more you just kind of lock up, the more muscled your shot is. These, you know, Norm has figured out a way to keep his swing as loose as possible. You know, and if your swing is loose, you can repeat shots. Muscle gets in the way.
Stay calm, cool, and collected. Let the ball do the work. You don't have to put too much hand into it. And able to trip out a 7-10 there.
You know, you look at the guys that have won. You know, Norm can hook it if he wants to, but he's relatively a straighter player. And you got Walter Ray's relatively a straighter player. You got Parker Bone, it's straighter. And it's fun to watch hook, but the guys that have won the most around tend to keep the ball on line.
Straighter is greater, as
Point A
they
to point
say.
B.
Yeah. What do you do in this case? You just got to keep striking on Gary Faulkner's.
You got to, you got to keep doing what you're doing and hoping that there's a hiccup on the other side.
And there very well may be, but
he's not giving in.
no, not at all.
And that's a good thing.
6 in a row for Gary.
Yeah, he's going at a 280 pace if he takes this off the sheet, but unfortunately Norm's going at 300. Now see, if you watch that ball there, it didn't go left. It stopped, and that's the motion that is going to carry. And you know, he's throwing a pin-up ball, which is going to be a little bit longer down the lane, but a little more violent on the back end. It's an asymmetrical ball.
I was going to say he didn't have any inserts in there, but he does. He's not.
Oh yeah, he's digging into that middle
oh
insert.
yeah, absolutely.
He's getting a handful of it.
I thought he was a la Norm Duke without the finger inserts. Oh, light, trip out, a 10, and a little bit of help.
He
knew it when he let it go.
He got it farther right than he wanted it to get, and it came back, and unfortunately, that OB that we were talking about, he got it way out to 3, and I said, you know, Ron Mohr thought there was an out of bounds around 3-4, and he got that out to 4, and the ball just didn't make the turn, almost 7-10. So now he really opened the door for Norm.
Convert a 7-pin here.
So he's got a possible 259. He goes off the sheet. But again, Norm, one more strike here, and it's sayonara.
I'm sure this is not the last time we will see Gary Faulkner. Of course, we move on to Anderson, Indiana after this.
Yeah, leaving tomorrow at around 11 o'clock. It's only 3 hours away. That's so close. This Midwest swing is good for me.
The motorhome is still intact.
Yeah, it's easier to get home.
Norm Duke, 9th frame.
I don't have it towed as far.
Going for 9 in a row. And a light strike. He knew he got away with it.
He didn't like that at all, and that didn't look good off of his hand. It looked like he shot out of that way, way too quick.
As we take another look at Norm's throw. Right between 3rd and 4th arrow there.
He literally seen that ball stop before it got to the pocket. With a few more minutes of practice after this match, it's going to be interesting to see how the lanes transition, if there's any oil that gets down to that break point. And causes guys to have to kind of circle the pattern a little bit.
Oh, my. Trip out that 7 and talk about a break.
Yep.
Gets this crowd going.
Well, even if he's 7'10", he would have been shooting roughly 260 something. And Gary's 259. Not good. I thought in the position round match, guys were kind of leapfrogging. Walter Ray had the front 8, I think. And if he strikes out for 300, he had made the show by a pin.
Oh.
And the scores this week, and especially in the position rounds, and the last couple were incredible.
Mm-hmm. Norm making some adjustments to his thumb hole. He's been messing with that all week here at Olympia Lanes.
Norm fiddles with tape a lot, and to him it's all about feel. If the thumb, he's not as picky with his fingers, but it's all about the feel of the thumb. If it's leaving your hand the right way, and if it doesn't leave your hand the right way, you're not going to execute the shot.
So 278 for Norm Duke as they exchange some words of encouragement.
I think they're both laughing about that 7'10".
Yeah.
They both left, you know.
You got to chalk it up as a great learning experience for Gary here.
He can't be upset with the way he bowled. He bowled phenomenal. He looked cool, calm, and collected on the show. He's dead rock solid. He never fell off a shot. You know, you'd expect guys to have the jits a little bit, you know, your first time, but didn't phase him at all.
Solid player.
We always say the greats have formaldehyde in their system. I swear to God, you know, there's ice in their veins. There's nothing going on. And it just, you know. They're having a little fun at the end here.
Speaking back with our capacity crowd here at Olympia Lanes. And
real nice 247 to his 278.
So Norm Duke advances to take on super senior Ron Mohr in our semifinal match. It's the 2017 PBA50 South Shore Open presented by Deviate here at Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana.
Damn good bowling.
Damn good bowling. I do 750 push-ups every day.
Yeah, 400 sit-ups. Yeah, I've done over 2 million sit-ups. What? Who even keeps track of that?
Maybe it feels like maybe I've done 700 push-ups in my lifetime. That's why I'm here in the broadcast booth.
Yeah. Norm's
Thank
lost.
you, everybody. Thank you. Yes.
Ron has, I think he definitely has an advantage to a certain extent because I think he's got a special ball that it just sets up to the pocket. It's just amazing. That ball stopped in the right spot all day today.
Talking to Ron before the match, he said he felt good coming into this stepladder final and that he does have the right ball in his hand.
He went through so many shows and couldn't win. Then he finally wins the Super Senior Masters in Vegas this year.
Right.
And he's back on the show again. It's something, but it was funny. I just bowled a regional with him. He up at Arlington Heights.
Okay. This past week.
Yeah, just before this started. He shoots 150 the first game.
Ugh.
He has nothing by the fifth frame of the second game.
Okay.
He goes, 17 frames in, I'm done. That's what he said to me because I bowled right next to him. At the end of the day, third on the show.
Oh, goodness.
Because once he figures it out, he just starts striking. And it's mathematics. You never give up until it's over, you know. And he is just incredible. His thought process and the way his regiment.
Yeah, his work ethic is.
It's just it's amazing. You know, like I watched that video and because he works out so much, He said bowling all these games to him it's a non-event. That doesn't even the physical part's not an issue at all. It's more of a mental strain, trying to figure out the lanes and doing the right thing. But as far as your legs getting tired, or your arm getting tired, or anything getting tired, that's not even in the game.
I know he didn't like that one coming off the lane.
No, he doesn't like the fact that he didn't strike the first frame.
But close to that out of bounds area that.
Yeah, he got away with that.
Yeah, he did get away with it.
He got away with it, but he knows he can't give up a frame to Norm Duke.
Can't give Norm any space. Because
Norm has figured out
strike.
how to slap out that 10 every time. That's what the greats do. They figure out something, and you can stand back and watch him all day long and not figure out what he's done. But his roll just sets up.
Also in that opening 8-game block where he averaged a 261, he said he made this ball change. He changed to this ball early and had to stick with it. And
when you have that reaction, you would stick to it also.
Yeah, absolutely you would. 3-bagger for Norm Duke.
Your swing gets really loose when you can hit the pocket and your carry percentage is 95%.
Mm-hmm. 95%. Crazy.
And what's your confidence got to be like when you're going up there knowing that odds are you're going to strike? Where some of us are like, boy, I hope I hit the head pin. There's a difference in thinking here.
Super senior Ron Mohr. Oh. Gets a break.
He got away with that, but that just didn't look like that whole approach. And his follow-through didn't look like Ron at all.
I think rushed it a little bit.
I don't know if he overslid or something, but his follow-through just didn't look. It didn't look right. It was like he was trying to force something there. But he did get the break, so.
Mohr owns 8 PBA 50 Tour titles. Going for his 9th here at Olympia Lanes. Four-time member of Team USA.
He's going to be on Senior Team USA again, too.
There's a solid pocket strike for Ron.
That's one thing that boy doesn't do. He never gives up. I always talk about his hand in the ball. Mm-hmm. People that want to get out of wrist braces, that index finger right there pushing so hard on the ball, that firms up your wrist. And if you want to
really?
Yeah.
Would that be an equivalent of back in the day? I know some players, oh boy.
He got that way too far out, and he knew it.
Some players tuck in that pinky or tuck in the index finger for some extra.
That gives you a little extra length and more back end.
Okay.
Because it allows your hand to get around the ball a little bit faster.
I've never seen or heard of forcing the index finger into.
But when you push on this, it locks up your wrist. So it firms up your wrist. So if you're trying to keep a wrist firm through the shot, put more pressure on your index finger. Tip of the day. Nelson would be proud of me.
From Tom Carter. We'll make a video after this.
Well, there you go.
Actually, we air that into the championship match, the tip of the day.
You don't have a wide enough lens to get me on a video. My nickname isn't the little fat guy for nothing.
Come on now. Norm Duke owning 7 PBA Tour majors. Looking to get back. Oh, my goodness. And he's in some trouble here. What's going on here, Tom?
I mentioned at the end that the lanes might do a little bit of transition and see what's going to happen because it's going to make the balls react a little bit weirder. And, he was playing the same part of the lane, and all of a sudden now the ball's hooking way too much on one lane. He pushed it out too far on the other and split. So now he's definitely got a thought process. He's going to have to make a move either inside and tighten up his lane, or he's going to have to add some more speed if he wants to keep that line. because right now the ball is starting to come off of the pad. Well, it's actually hooking a little bit earlier, so it's coming off the pattern in a different angle. He's not getting it to the same break point.
Makeable split here. Norm needs to do that, and does. Gets this crowd going here in Hammond.
Yeah. And you hear the Duke going on. Yep.
Yeah, they're not booing him, ladies and gentlemen. Duke.
Sounded like Halloween. I wasn't quite sure what that was. He's a ghost. And he looks like, yeah, I know. I got it.
Yeah.
Throwing two different types of balls. Like I said, Norm's throwing a hybrid. Ron's throwing an eternal cell, an asymmetrical ball, which is just a little rollier, and it's a solid. So his ball's going to read the lane totally different, and Ron's roll has the ability to stop. And when I talked to him, he said he always uses this ball on 38-foot patterns or less because it hooks up and sets to the pocket. It doesn't try to overreact.
Felt good coming into the step ladder. He did say he had the right piece of equipment in his hands. Seems to be the case. 4 in a row for Ron.
Yeah, spare 4 in a row, and then Norm 3-bagger split, miss, split, pick up. So we definitely have a match in hand. You know, Ron, an ex-air traffic controller, and I would think that job would be nerve-wracking as it is with all those people's lives in your hand. So bowling on the show, I would think, would be non-nerve-wracking at all.
It's a cakewalk for him.
Yeah.
And again, something different in that release.
It looked like he overslid. That wasn't a typical Ron Mohr release. It just he wasn't. He was out of whack when he got through that. It looked like he was still sliding when he was trying to throw it, and he tried to save it, hit up on it. He's got a makeable 310 split,
but
it could have been a lot worse. But he
needs.
Wow.
Oh goodness! Opens the door for Norm.
That looked like the same shot that he just had. His footwork or his timing's got to be a little bit out of whack because it looks like he just threw himself out of that shot totally.
And he knew it when he released it. That wow. Interesting.
This is kind of like a chess match here.
Let's see if we see it here on the side. Angle 2, 3, 4.
It looked like he just came to a sudden stop there and just kind of shot everything off of his hand.
Norm trying to take advantage here, and does. Solid pocket strike.
That ball might have been a little bit tighter down lane. Didn't get quite as far out.
But made the adjustment versus
He's
the two splits he just left.
Crossing 15 to like 8, 9. He didn't get that one as far out. Now, the question is going to be what's going to do on the left lane because that ball went right through the face. And in practice, the guy said that all of them said that the left lane seemed to be hooking more than the right. So they obviously made the adjustment through their practice session.
Let's see what kind of adjustment Norm makes here in the 7th. Boy.
4-pin, looks like he moved in a little bit.
As we check in with Gary Faulkner. Gary, great first step ladder. I see you have the check in your hand. How did that feel?
Money? My bank account's going to love me more.
Are you making your way out to Anderson?
Oh, we're going to stay one more day here, and then I'll head out to Anderson tomorrow.
All right. Continued success, sir. Great first outing here on the step ladder. As Norm Duke.
He still looks a little confused.
Yeah.
You know, he's not overly excited about what just happened. He left a 4-pin. He thought he made the right move. He still came in a little high. So that obviously the left lane's breaking down a little bit more.
As we look at Mrs. Mohr. And
you know, Ron that was a strike, but he's not even happy with the way the ball's going through the pins. He's not making the shots that he's used to making. You know, that ball came in high, and that could have been something ugly there, but it tripped out.
Like you said earlier, very not like Ron Mohr.
Yeah, not typical Ron Mohr. Just throws it and knows that things are going to strike. It's like he's I don't know if it's the approach, but it looks like he's backing out of the shot a little bit. And if the approach is either oversliding for him or sticking, then he's getting at the bottom and just kind of, it's not crisp like he normally is.
And again, he is in a world of hurt.
And it's kind of funny because he's the one that really mentioned that, you know, the left lane is really hooking way more, and he knows that, and it almost looks like he's trying to play it too straight in the front part of the lane, and the ball's hooking way too early on the back end. He needs to open up his angles a little bit. Not a lot, but he's definitely got to try to create a little bit more push through the front part of the lane. The ball's picking up too soon.
Is it time maybe for a ball change for Ron? I don't know if you need to go there just yet.
He's still in control, but he's got to end on that lane. So he's got to figure out something, you know, in this next frame. So he's probably not going to make that gutsy ball change move, but I would think that he would make a 2-and-1, open his angles up a little bit, try to get a little bit more push. He's got to try to stay ahead of Norm here. Obviously, Norm can strike out for 234 and really put some pressure on.
Pressure applied.
Dink. Put some more pressure on Ron.
Well, you got someone like Norm, PBA Player of the Year. He won.
Yeah, this game could turn into, there is a possibility of a tie here. It could happen.
Which would force a roll-off for our championship
We haven't had one
match.
of those for a while.
No, we have not. We are due here. Perhaps this is the day. Norm Duke in the 9th. He'll take it, even though it was a little light.
234 if Duke goes off the sheet. 236 if Mohr goes off the sheet. Norm, that stare down, I think he wills them down. I really do. I mean,
Ron Mohr needs this strike to stay alive.
he wasn't solid at all on it. His timing is off a little bit because he's literally jerking at the point of release. He's getting there, and it's just like, boom.
It's about the fourth or fifth shot he's done that.
Yeah, he's fallen off to the right, and he's either getting the ball into the swing a little bit late, and it's forcing him to pull through, and he's throwing his weight. Whoa.
I was going to say, oof.
That's not a typical Ron Mohr delivery.
Very uncharacteristic from what we saw in qualifying and in match play.
The scores would have been a little bit different this week. Mike Cozy said they had brand new pins ordered they bought at the trade show. They were going to be here before we got here. They got here today. I said, we should put them in for the show. That would make things a little more interesting.
A little better, but still, something's not right there.
Yeah, the ball's not facing up like it did all day today. That strip and re-oil, strip and re-oil, strip. His out of bounds got a little bit tighter, and he just doesn't have the recovery that ball had this afternoon. He's going to get out of here if he strikes with 213, and Norm needs to obviously mark in the 10th, but I'm pretty sure that shouldn't say that. That
it's a good percentage.
Good percentage.
Norm will take advantage of the situation at hand.
Bob Learn coming over to take a look, our tournament leader. He made a huge go at it there at the end to be tournament leader to go around. Finishing with 210, he never did figure out that left lane.
Nope.
Left lane just got to him.
So
basically 8 count spare and another good count. Norm moves on to the title match.
Let me direct you to the fourth and fifth frames where he went through the nose. Anything can happen here. 10th frame for Norm Duke. Oh my goodness. A 7-10, and he is stunned.
7-10.
Wow.
He moved in on that shot. That shot was in.
Made the adjustment, and
Made
it
the
did not
adjustment.
pay off.
That ball was in just a little bit and a lot firmer.
It looked good.
And it just didn't make the turn.
He needs to make
He needs to make a
7-10 split.
He's got to make 7-10 and get 9.
We did have one 7-10 conversion out here at Olympia Lanes in Hammond during qualifying. Just when you think it's going to go one way, in a snap of a finger, it goes another. Unbelievable.
Ron's wife sitting back there, I think she just said unbelievable, and it is. You wouldn't expected this out of Norm. He's going to try to fire it, and
needs to pick this up.
And it stayed in the deck. Even 200.
Ron
my God.
Mohr advances to the championship match to take on our tournament leader, Bob Learn Jr.
And Ron was already taking his equipment over to his bag. He knew he was beat.
Right.
And this happens.
So
now he's bringing his stuff back. He's like, I guess I'm still bowling.
Not done yet. The championship match, Ron Mohr against Bob Learn Jr. next here from Hammond, Indiana's Olympia Lanes. It's the 2017 PBA 50 South Shore Classic, presented by Deviate. Van McNeil alongside Tom Carter. Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana for a shocking,
unbelievable
2017 PBA 50 South Shore Open.
It is getting more exciting in the booth every match. That was unbelievable. A 7-10. The guy averages 261, and to finish third.
Right.
Led the tournament to finish third because of a 7-10. It happened to him a couple tournaments back at Pasco. That 6 count, guys are taking their stuff to their bag because he's not going to leave a 6 count. And he leaves a 6 count to lose that tournament. Ron Mohr's already packing up because he knows he's and an unbelievable 7-10. Unbelievable.
I went over to talk to Ron for a second.
He has to be in shock.
He is in shock. A gift from the gods. But, he told me if he can pure it, if he can stay long in his release, he'll be good. But he's been, his last 5 shots, purely bad shots, he's been shorting them and turning his wrist at the end, which is very unlike Ron Mohr.
And it looks like because of his approach that he's stopping too sudden and he has to play catch up with his swing. And if you pull through your swing, your hand goes around the ball way too quick, and it's just all bad. You either dump the ball, you yank it, you don't clear it the right way. There is no flat spot at the bottom of your swing.
So our championship match with our tournament leader, Bob Learn Jr., and his first throws. Solid pocket strike.
Well, that was kind of interesting. Bob chose to start the match. That's a little bit different. Normally, you want to put the pressure on the other guy, but obviously he doesn't like that left lane either. But a lot of guys don't like the right lane, obviously, right now.
Right.
Especially Norm at this point.
Let's see if Ron has hit the reset button here.
That looked better.
Yeah, that looked a lot better.
He got the ball.
Not to his liking, but
he got the ball into the swing better. It almost looks like we're talking a fraction of a second, carrying it a little long, which makes him have to pull through the ball. But that looks better in the last 5 shots of the last
match.
Yeah.
Telling me if he can pure it, he'll be good. If he stays relaxed at the bottom of his swing, but he knew those were all bad shots in that last match.
Well, he's bowled enough, and he was on Team USA, and obviously enough wins. Bowlers of his caliber and Norm's and the guys out there on the show have great feel, and they know when they do something wrong. It's just a matter of being able to fix it. sometimes knowing you're doing it and making it not happen is tough, because sometimes the more you think about it, the more you do it.
Right, right. So Team USA member and Ron Mohr, senior Team USA as well.
I believe him and Bob Lerner are both going to be on senior Team USA this year, I think. So they're going to be teammates.
Battling it out here. And
he got totally confused by
Yeah.
that shot. He's looking back like, what just happened?
yeah.
I think he's thinking he almost stood in the wrong place. Because after he let it go, the ball just didn't react at all. It almost looked
Right.
like the same spot that Norm got to in that 10th frame and left that 7-10. Bob got the ability to throw the ball a million miles an hour because his feet are so quick and he gets the line. And when they say there's no such thing as fast feet, you haven't watched Bob Lerner bowl. But then again, back in the day, if you watched Marshall Homan, his feet were flying too.
And that long slide to the foul line. on
And
Marshall.
they both held the ball down, just in a little bit different manner.
Mhm. Yeah, I see a lot of Marshall there now that you bring it up, Tom. Oh boy.
Wow, 2-8-10. It's like
What's going on here?
he got that out to that spot that we were talking about, out
Mhm.
4 down lane.
Yeah, that out of bounds.
And that's that hang spot. And I think he's going for a different ball.
That's exactly what he's doing.
I think he got fooled into throwing the wrong ball. Granted that we're early in the match, we're only in the 3rd frame. There's still time, but if Mohr figures out his timing, this could be ugly.
Right. It's the count.
Always, to me, you got to always go for the count. I mean, trying to pick it up. I seen one picked up this week, and I seen something this week that I don't know how many people out there listening have ever seen. We've seen it left a 5-7-10.
Yeah.
But I watched Tim Pierce pick up the 5-7-10, and it was amazing. He hit the 5 so thin it slid in front of the 7, hit the wall, and then hit the 5, hit the wall, then hit the 7, and the 7 rolled across and took out the 10.
Oh,
That was incredible.
Super senior Ron Mohr, 3rd frame. Oh no.
He got the break, but
Fell out of the shot.
he super fell out of that
yeah.
shot.
He
That-
is. Something
Yeah.
is still not right.
It's almost like he's got his leverage too far forward at the foul line. And when your shoulders are too far ahead of your knee, your body can't stop. It's going to hop or fall to the right.
Right.
And he just looks like his posture is, it's not the normal Ron Mohr that we see.
It's
And-
been weird because we've seen regular Ron Mohr all throughout
yeah,
qualifying and up to this point.
Yeah, and he's been on how many shows this year?
Right.
You know, this is just out of character for Ron. I don't know. I can't imagine them being nervous about anything. That was more solid.
Looked a little better, but
I think he
slight
tried
miss of
so hard to
target.
be solid at that. He lifted so hard, he just made the ball hook early. It's almost like he's lost his feel. He comes back shaking his head going, what am I doing?
you don't want to open the door right back for your opponent.
His follow-through came so hard back, he almost touched himself in the middle of the back.
Mm-hmm. Even that index finger on the spare ball. Interesting. Uh-oh. Oh.
I don't, I don't even know what to say. 'Cause I mean, this is a whole different demeanor. I mean, we got one guy that is kind of lost right now, and you got the other guy that's having problems with his approach. And he's saying, he just said, "Come on," He's like, he knows, but he's got 6 frames left. He's got to get his feel back pretty quick, because if Learn figures it out, he's going to strike a lot, because he struck a lot today, obviously.
Let's see if Bob bounces back after this ball change and straight through the head. He'll take the break, though.
He went to a way more aggressive ball. I think that's a creed that he went to. He was throwing a deviate thug, which is really his go-to ball. This ball's a newer ball, but it's a little stronger on the back end, and he can tell he's confused. He's trying to keep the lines tight. I know he doesn't want it to open up too much because he figures he's going to hit an out of bounds. So he's adding speed at this point.
Which is not necessarily the right answer in
No.
adjustments.
Yeah, we're looking basically at a 12-pin game here, you know, or, well, no, I take that back. It's a 30-pin game because of Bob's split that he had.
Bob's best 2017 finish to date, second Sun Bowl in the Villages. He also finished fourth in the PBA50 Players Championship. And, wow.
Trips the 2-pin forward.
Wow, wow,
And he
wow.
thought that ball was going to come screaming back.
Yeah, and it hung out there as we check out the
Oh, my
replay
God.
again, and in that out-of-bounds area.
Yeah, he got that clear out to 2.
Yeah, and it still came back.
I mean, he's hitting it with everything he's got. You know, he thought that was going to fly back, and it didn't.
Throwing his hands up in the air.
So from what we had today, we got a little bit more out of bounds. We got a little bit more hook in the hook zone, and really not a whole lot of hold.
Ron Mohr looking to take advantage. Solid pocket strike. What an interesting.
Yeah, this is not, other than that second match, this is not what I expected to see in the title match. I figured that we'd have a 250-250 game going on right here.
And through 5 frames, we still don't even know how this is going to wrap up.
I'm quite sure that neither one of them feel overly confident that they have their match in hand. You know, Ron's struggling with approach issues, and Bob's obviously struggling with ball reaction issues.
Let's see if we see that old Ron Mohr we saw in qualifying and match play. That looks a little better.
Yeah, that was a lot better. He's you know, again, they're crossing 15, 16 with the arrows. And he's trying not to get it too far right, but he's got to create enough shape on the back of the lane to make sure it carries.
You create too much, and you're in that out-of-bounds area again, and it almost came up a little high, but with enough ball speed. Solid pocket strike. Let's see how Bob Learn Jr. adjusts here. 6th frame.
He switched balls again. He went back to his original ball because he didn't like, I think the other one was way too long and too snappy for him. So he went back to the thug.
So, back to the deviate.
He actually squared it up to the right. He moved to like 12, 13 to 8 down lane, trying to keep it on a tighter line. I think that was a good move, and he thought he struck left that 4-pin. But we're running out of frames here, guys.
Oh, boy.
It's well, he obviously needs to strike here. You know, he's going to throw 2 different balls. He's going to throw the Creed on the left lane and the Thug on the right lane.
Interesting.
Since this has got the hang spot, he's using a stronger ball to try to probably get out of through the hang spot. That was a good move. That was a good move.
That was the right move.
Now, if he figures out the right lane, which I think he's got it figured out because he squared it up better. See, yeah, he squared it up with this ball too because he moved right. He crossed like 12 and only went out to 7-8 down lane. He's got to stay away from that 3-4 area down lane.
That out of bounds area that we've been talking about.
Even though that's probably where he got to use all day today. You know, it's tough when you got to use it for, what, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours today in match play, and all of a sudden now you can't use it no more. It's bad juju. Get away from there.
Ron Mohr looking to bounce back with a 3-bagger. Shortened up again.
Whoa.
Got a break.
Yeah, it went from a 4-9 to just a solid 9. if he's going to keep that angle, he's going to have to really keep the speed up, because otherwise it's going to go right through the face. Well, he gave an opening to Bob Learn by not striking there.
Capacity crowd here at Olympia Lanes in Hammond, Indiana.
We always have such a good.
Yeah.
They treat us unbelievable here. Mike Cozy,
Yeah.
a great proprietor host, is just center manager.
Mhm.
He makes sure that the motorhomes, we got hookups, we got water,
Right.
we got electric. There's coffee and
Yeah, nice spread for the players in the paddock.
Yeah, it's just, and this was our 18th year that they've hosted here. It's just been an incredible place to be. And the fans, they always come out, and for the pro-am and all during the qualifying and stuff.
Oh,
Whoa.
my goodness.
That went from a 4-7-10 to strike.
Right. Real quick, as we look at the replay, we'll watch it happen.
Yeah, he crossed like 12, and got it out to like 5-6, and right through the face, but it carried.
Ooh.
He's thanking his lucky stars at this point.
Remember a game ago, he was almost out the door with his equipment.
Yeah, he was. He was out there where Amleto's sitting with balls in the bag. Oh, wait a minute, I'm still playing.
Let's see if Bob Learn Jr. can bounce back here. 8th frame. And hung out there by a board, by a hair.
You know, when you don't have a good look at the pocket, sometimes you get through the shot. It's kind of like you shoot it off your hand because you're not confident in what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and at fast time, that's what it looked like. He just kind of rushed that shot. He wanted to keep it on line, but the ball didn't have enough juice to make the turn on the back end. And he knows he's in trouble right now. He's down 40 with only a spare up.
You can see the frustration as he continues to talk it out.
He's got a possible 206 if he strikes it out. And Ron Mohr, all he has to do is fill frames. He doesn't have to double up anymore.
25 PBA regional titles, 2 PBA 50 regional titles for Bob Learn Jr. And he didn't like it, but he'll take that.
He wasn't sure that was even going to strike.
Crazy.
He got it flirting with that out of bounds.
Yeah, that 3-4.
Ron just knows at this point he can't split the next 2 frames.
Keep the pedal to the metal. Go off the sheet.
Stay aggressive. And this is the lane he's playing the tighter line on. He's got to keep his speed up.
Ooh, boy. Oh, goodness. What else is going to happen here at the South Shore Open?
Big 4 for Ron Mohr
boy.
in the 9th frame. I just said he had to keep his speed up if he's going to play that line. And that ball came off the pattern. It was the same shot he struck with last time, but it went high. And this one, he didn't get that break. Now he's adding it up in his head. He gets 2, 85-93. He can't split again. He's got to get 2. He's got to get count.
And he does.
So he's got 93. Learn's got a possible 206. If he splits again, Learn can win. If Learn strikes out. What a...
What is going on here in Indiana? Holy cow.
Well, it's, to say the least, been an interesting show to be on.
That is for sure. Definitely a unique show for me. I've
don't even
never
know what
been
to
through
say.
something like this before myself, Tom. So this is definitely interesting. Must strike to apply the pressure.
He has to. He has.
And that one. There's Ron Mohr.
There you
There
go.
he is.
That one locks up the show. He unbelievable. He literally threw that like Ron Mohr.
Mm-hmm.
He got through it. He posted it.
Oh, goodness.
And that looks like what got him to the show. Flush strike. Mama's happy now.
Mrs. Mohr. Yeah, yeah. Mama's smiling now. Let's see if he can strike again. We're not quite out of the woods yet, but there's another. Uh-oh.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
That's good enough. Gets a spare 213.
There's the smile from
Yeah.
Mrs. Mohr.
I think Bob Learn is going to sit back and wonder what happened to his pair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know he had a look, and just for it to go away, unless he just your adrenaline gets going, he could have just overpowered the shot, try to throw it too hard. But, what some bad breaks. It was an interesting match, that's for sure.
As Ron continues to react and be in some utter disbelief.
Yeah, he was definitely looking up at the stars.
Yeah.
Oh, now he strikes.
Now,
yes,
Bob.
Yes. And that's the look he had in practice every time he came over.
That's what got him to this position here today when he surpassed Norm Duke in Game 3, Game 4 of
you can almost say that
play.
he wanted it so bad that he just overthrew the ball by, let's say, a mile an hour, and it just didn't have time to react. When the shots are like this, speed is critical. Too fast, too slow. And Bob has the ability to really, oh my Lord. And he just threw pins everywhere, and it missed a 7-pin. So he's going to finish up with a 195. I know he's very disgruntled with what happened because he's in disbelief that he actually lost this match. Here.
Oh.
A little fun at the end.
Well, Tom, always a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. We will
We'll hopefully do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Thanks
I'm
for
going to head
having
out
me.
and talk to Mr. Mohr.
Van McNeil, is Ron Mohr still in the building? I thought he was packing up his stuff. He was out the door. He was out the door.
I'll go find him.
How about a nice round of applause for Ron Mohr here, ladies and gentlemen? For you, Ron, you thought you were done against Norm Duke. You were already out the door, and then you had that blessing. What was going through your head there?
You never expect that from Norm. I mean, clearly one of the best players in history, and if he only needs a mark, it's probably more than 100% chance that that's going to happen.
Right.
So, yeah, clearly I was packing my stuff because, I've been in this position quite a few times and had a few breaks go against me the other way and make good shots when it mattered. Clearly, I think this event, Norm was the best player this week. There's no doubt. And he probably deserved to win. Sometimes it's your turn, and it looks like today was my turn.
Absolutely, your turn. Let's get into a little of the particulars in your game against Norm, and even in this last game against Bob. It seemed like you were going through some problems in your approach and your swing. You're telling me between the semi and championship match, if you could only pure it, then you'd be good. But still yet, you were still having some problems against Bob.
Yeah, what routinely happens, and I think it's probably to a lot of bowlers, is your focus changes from execution to I could win this match, to outcome, over which you have no control.
Right.
You have control over execution. I threw a really good shot in the 5th frame for the 4-bagger, and of course I'm thinking I'm bowling Norm and I could beat Norm.
Right.
And I made one good shot the last 5 frames. 4 of the 5 were just terrible. So clearly, like I said, sometimes it's your turn. I was able to withstand the storm, and anyway, to get past Norm was a real blessing and a real break. I mean, guys.
Yeah.
You guys know Norm. I mean,
Yeah,
clearly he was
absolutely.
the best player this week.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Averaging a 261 in the first block of qualifying, averaging a 250 in that second block of qualifying. You knew coming into this you were going to have a tough task on your hand.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how many of these. I mean, you guys watched Norm bowl his second block. He goes 180, 180, 270, 270, 270, to the surprise of absolutely no one in the building. I mean, Norm is just that good. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm just so fortunate to be right here and have the support of my beautiful wife, Lita, and
Absolutely.
again, throwing the best equipment in the market today. I'm having the support of Storm and Rotogrip gets me here. But anyway, there's so many other people to thank. Mike and his incredible staff allowing us to come here. Nick Loxis, who actually, I mean, for me, I was an air traffic controller for 25 years, and then I decided to try this. I am literally living my dream. And it's guys like Nick and Mike that make it possible for me to do this. And I can't thank them enough, and the PBA for making this possible. And you guys for coming out and sharing this a little bit. And it's been a great afternoon.
Your 2017 PBA 50 South Shore champion.